Hey guys, what's going on? This is Tiffany here, the Garden Goddess, reporting from Dallas, Texas. It's a little dreary outside. We actually hadn't had rain for about 2 weeks, so we're super excited that it's been raining today. My tomatoes are going to be popping after all of this rain. But this video is really going to be about propagating fruit trees. So today I'm standing in front of my peach tree. Actually didn't get to harvest much from my peach tree this season. I didn't take care of it like I should have, and so a lot of my peaches had worms in them. But it's still an awesome peach tree. It performs really well in this area, and the reality is I'm going to be selling my house. I was super surprised when I bought my house and found that I had a peach tree and 2 pear trees, and I just love this tree. I have gotten really good harvests over the years, and I want to take it with me wherever I go. And so just follow me and I'm going to show you how to propagate peach trees. So there are 3 different type of cuttings that you can take in order to propagate your peach tree. You can take softwood cuttings, you can take semi-hardwood cuttings, or you can take hardwood cuttings. Usually hardwood cuttings are taken in winter, but because this is the end of summer, we're going to do some softwood and some semi-hardwood cuttings today, and we're going to propagate those. So if you zoom in, I'll show you the different type of cuttings we could take. So because this limb is all green, this is what we would call a softwood cutting. And I really like this one because it has so many nodes to use. It's a really nice size. It might be a little long. I might get a shorter one, but when cutting your limb, just make sure you're at a 45-degree angle and you just snip there. Now, when we're looking at semi-hardwood, you can see right here that you have the hardwood at the base of the limb. Can you see that? But then you still have some green on this limb here. So this is what we would consider a semi-hardwood. It's not all the way brown. It's like right in between. This is also a semi-hardwood. It's brown at the base, but it's still green at the top. So we're gonna try this one too. And once again, we're gonna do a 45-degree angle and just snip. Third type of cutting that you can get is a hardwood cutting, and we have one right here. This wood is just a little bit older. This is about a year, but it did have a peach on it at one point, and it has some really good nodes on it. So I'm not going to cut this one. Once again, hardwoods, you usually take these off in winter. I'm going to leave this on. I'd probably want to wait until some of these semi-hardwoods turn into hardwoods just because they're newer. So we're not going to do any hardwood cuttings today, but I'm just going to cut a few more of the semi-hardwoods and the softwoods, and then I'll be back. One important thing that I want to note before doing this is the reason that we do cuttings versus seeds. I mean, that'd be great if you can grow a peach tree from seeds. Honestly, I've had a little couple mini peach trees pop up over the past couple of years just from peaches falling. But that takes a long time, and I want peaches as soon as I can get peaches, you know? Growing a peach tree from seed could take years and years. I mean, imagine how long it would take just to get something this size or that size from a peach seed. Plus, the cuttings allow us to get an exact replication of the tree that's already doing great. You can go to the big box store, go to Callaway's or a nursery and buy a tree, but how do you know that it's going to do well in your area? The reason I want to duplicate this tree is because it does so well in North Texas, and I know that I'm going to get peaches. I know that it's not going to die on me. I know we get enough freezing hours for the peach tree here. The crab apple tree is old. He said he planted that when he first moved in, and these houses are about 30 years old. So that crab apple tree has stood the test of time, Texas heat, Texas cold, and so I feel more comfortable doing cuttings versus seed or buying some random tree or ordering offline that I'm not sure of. You know, I don't know if it's going to work well in this area. So that's the beauty of cuttings. Alright, so I got all my cuttings for my peach trees. I got a total of 4, but I also want to show you guys, I have a neighbor that has a cherry apple tree that he brought in from Asia, and he said I could have cuttings from his trees. And so I got 3 cuttings from there now. They actually have fruit on them, and we are actually not going to plant these cuttings with the fruit on there. So let's get started, and I'll show you how we are going to propagate not only these peach trees, but these cherry apple cuttings as well. So first thing we're going to do is make the potting mix that we're going to place the cuttings in. Now we have peat moss, perlite, And I have some sand, some all-purpose sand that you can just get from the big box store. And we're gonna put equal parts of all of this. Now, it's important to make sure that you have a potting mix that allows a lot of good water drainage, but also doesn't hold too much water. So the peat moss is great as far as holding in water. And actually, I'm gonna go ahead and wet this up before I add anything else. Just a little bit of water, maybe. So I'm just gonna mix this up. You can wear gloves if you want. Wear gloves. Now this is gonna help hold the water, and the perlite actually helps repel water. And so we're gonna put quite a bit of that in there. And then the sand is going to help allow for water drainage as well. So we're gonna mix some sand in here as well. And it's just gonna be a nice, fluffy, airy potting mix. I'm gonna put a little bit more of this peat moss in here. Just like so. A little bit of water. Just gonna mix it up. Once again, use gloves. The beauty of organic gardening, I don't really too much worry about what's getting under my nails or on my skin at this point, but you see this potting mix is really nice and airy. It doesn't clump up. I mean, this is gonna be some good stuff. I think I'm making 6 cups, but we'll just go with this, okay? Next, you want to get a cup, and we got to make some drainage holes. So we want to make some drainage holes in this cup. And so just get your clippers. I actually just ordered these off of Amazon, Gonic. I don't know, they've been doing great so far. And just be careful. And clip a little holes in the bottom of your cup. Don't hurt yourself. Wear gloves, once again, if you think you might hurt yourself. But lots of drainage holes. And then I'm just gonna scoop some of the potting mix into the cup. I got these nice clear cups because I actually want to see the roots. I'm excited about seeing the roots form. I'm gonna leave a little bit of space at the top because I'm gonna layer the top with sand because I want to make sure there's no gnats or flies getting to the roots of my new plants. So once you have the soil in here, we're actually going to go ahead and prep the cutting. So when prepping the cutting, you want to remove the leaves from about the bottom third of your cutting, okay? So you can cut them off if you want. I'm very unofficial. I'm just going to snap them off just like so. And even here you can see where new buds can start. New buds are starting. And so I snapped off the bottom third. And then what we want to do is we want to score down here. This is where you score, is usually about where your roots are going to start forming. So nothing crazy. But I'm just scraping a little bit of skin off the bottom half of my cutting. I'll go a little bit higher. Sweet. We got our cut. Next, I have 2 different forms of rooting hormone. I have the gel Clonex. I've never used this before, but I've heard great reviews about it. It is a gel. It's a little bit more expensive than my Take Root, which is a powder. I think both of them can get the job done, but just as an experiment, I'm going to do a couple of cuttings in the Take Root powder and a couple of cuttings in the Clonex, and we're going to kind of see which one roots more or faster or better, okay? With the Clonex, all you do is dip the bottom half that's going into the soil into the Clonex. It's actually a really pretty color. I'm excited about this. And then we are dipping this right into the bottom, right to the bottom. Now, one thing I forgot to show you all. Now, you see all of these leaves on here. They release water, and we want this plant to have as much water as possible. I'm gonna cut some of these leaves down. I'm gonna remove a couple of these leaves, and then we're gonna cut them down a little bit because I want all the water and all the energy of this plant to go to making roots. I don't want the plant to be transpiring too much. And so we're just gonna remove some of these leaves here and keep the top. And the leaves that we are keeping, I'm just gonna cut them down a little bit. This is a really tall cutting, and I probably, now that I'm looking at it, I probably should have made it a little bit shorter, but we're just gonna see what it does. Sweet. So I got my cutting in here. I do want it standing upright. I'm gonna go ahead and add the sand at the top to prevent any flies or gnats from getting in and messing with my roots. So one thing that's important with this is to make sure that there's enough moisture and that it's moisturized, okay? So these spray bottles come in really handy. You don't want it to dry out at all. You want to keep it moist. Putting it in another cup is a great way to make sure you're keeping track of how much moisture is in your cutting. So I'm going to go ahead and water this and get it started off right. Oop. Takes a little bit to get through the sand. But what I want to see is I want to see the water draining all the way through, getting to the bottom of this cup. That's how much water I'm about to add. So this is what it looks like. I might put some type of trellis or something to hold it up because I don't like how it's bending over like that. But this is the final product. This is what it looks like. We got a little water down here. My backyard actually faces north, which is awesome. I have a corner of my yard that gets semi-light, not direct light, but that's what you want. And it's Texas. It's 100 degrees out every day. So I definitely don't want this in direct sun or drying out too quickly. All it takes is a couple hours in that Texas sun and this could be a wrap. And so this one's good. Let's play around with the cherry apple. This fruit, this isn't even ripe, so we're not going to do much with that. These are great for drying. Ooh. These are great for drying, and when you cook them, they taste just like apples. They're also, one day I do want an apple tree, and apple trees need other varieties in order to pollinate, and so this is great because it pollinates with all apple trees. And so having a couple of these is going to be awesome, and then I just have to spend the money on buying an apple tree, and I won't have to worry about buying multiples or too many of them because I'll have these started already. So after removing the fruit, man, this has so many good nodules. So once again, we're going to remove the leaves on the bottom third. This time I'll be a little bit more professional and use my clippers. There we go. So we remove the leaves from the bottom third, and then I'm just going to score this a little bit. Nothing crazy. You can also use a really nice, clean, sterile knife. Once again, I just got this off of Amazon, so it's brand spanking new. I washed it in some dish soap, and we're good to go. But if you've been using your knife or your clippers around the yard, you know, to clip off dead leaves or diseased leaves, then you definitely want to make sure you sterilize these with a diluted bleach solution. There we go. So we scrape that up a little bit. And I'm gonna get some more potting mix here. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to put my holes in the bottom. There we go. And next I'm going to use the gel again, and we're just going to dip this into the gel like so, and there goes my cherry apple tree. We have our powder here. This is the take root. One thing I want to do is just wet the end of this just a little bit. I did score it, but I want to wet it just a tiny bit. That wasn't a tiny bit, that was a lot. Some people would say to take the take root and put it in a different cup, blase blase, but all I'm really using this to propagate right now is my peach tree, so I don't feel weird or anything about dipping it in there. We got powder on the end here. I'm gonna make a little hole. We're gonna stick this bad boy all the way in. So I'm actually going to take off more leaves. I really love the way peach tree leaves look. Once again, label your plants. This is peach take root. Alright guys, so this is the north side of my home, and I just have a really old TV tray that these will be sitting on. This gets very minimal indirect sun, and I'm going to keep you guys updated. Thank you for joining me. If you like this video, hit the like button. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell when you subscribe, and you guys have a blessed day. See you soon.